So page 3 is the enclosure of this lower level that we had suggested. And you can see on those seat counts, what we're generating there is a total of 862 seats with direct views of the racing on the track side of the facility.
And that's up from how many that you proposed last time you were here?
Just what was that, like 1 minute?
Yeah, I think it was around 5, in the 500s.
So what's the differential? How many more?
We're up about
300 seats. And we'll get to the total seat count in the facility. But that's up from 0 in our original plan to 800.
Somehow I remember that.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
And enclosed. These are enclosed here. And on page 7, you can see, I know the concern, it was, not only numbers of seats, but seats directly overlooking the racetrack. Page 7 gives you the sight lines from that first level. Again, it'll be riser type seating, so you will be overlooking. Again, if you go back to that Paddock Cafe visual from Penn National, envision that with tiered seating as opposed to the table seating, which was our original plan. So you will be able to have a little bit better view of the track and more seats directly looking at the racetrack. And obviously on the second floor, you can see the sight lines.
Yeah, if you're looking at page 7, which is the sight lines, you're seeing what the sight lines would be from this proposed new area at
What if
track.
the guy has a big hat on here?
I don't know if we can go for every contingency. We'll put him in the back row.
Yeah. So I apologize, I jumped ahead of myself. I was on the second floor. This is the first floor. So this fixed seating as well as the bleacher seating is what we've added as part of this.
Also, one of the concerns was about food service down in that area. We have put in a concession area to accommodate guests on that level. That level can also be used for simulcasting. So what we would envision both probably along the glass curtain wall facing into the seats will be TVs that people can watch simulcasting as well, and then probably where you see the loose seating against those walls, there'll be some TVs as well for simulcasting purposes. Obviously, there's plenty of mutual opportunities as well.
Chris, was the glass curtain wall part of the initial build-out, or was this going to be contingent on market conditions?
Now, for Mahoney Valley, we are starting with the glass curtain wall system in there. Again, based on what we anticipate our racing dates span to be in the late fall and winter weather.
Thank you.
You also have spring racing too.
Yeah, not enough.
Based on this, Mark,
Well,
you're saying spring?
We end right now. We end right around Kentucky Derby Day. What we are hoping to work out with Thistledown, since we'll be in the same geography and hopefully the same racing circuit, is not to have much, if any, overlapping days. So we'll certainly have to work on the scheduling, but it'll be a predominantly, probably not conducive outside weather most of the time that we're racing.
So that's the first level of the building, what was not even shown as filled in when we looked at these original plans. The next 2 pages are the second level. Really, this was what was in our original plan as dedicated to racing, really a racing, sports book, sports bar kind of an environment that both looked out over the gaming floor as well
When you
as
say sports book, what do you mean sports book?
race book. I apologize, race book. Sports bar.
Simulcast teletheater, much like the what you saw at Penn National with that opening scene there.
Yes.
I didn't realize we had sports betting.
No. You'd be there if we did, right?
I don't think so, I'm too cheap.
So the second floor is predominantly racing, so it's more important for us to jump to page 5, which actually shows the seating plan, which I was erroneously referring to earlier as the seating plan. But this is the clubhouse space. In our original plans, this was laid out for 2 tiers and 4 tables with views of the track as both racing as well as part of that simulcast / sportsbook facility. At the request of the commission, we've gone back. We've added 2 incremental tiers. We've created 4 tiers rather than 2. And we've proposed to put in fixed seating here to give us a seat count on fixed seating of 264 seats. You're going to see there 38 stools. Those stools are at sort of a bar area, very similar to what you saw in the video of Penn National Racecourse, looking out over the racetrack. So every one of those seats would have a view of the racecourse, all being oriented, as you can see there, towards the finish line, which the finish line is that big dark black hash mark that you see running down at the bottom. And then this ties into the simulcast facility, which would look and feel very similar to what you saw in the Penn National video, as that room that people could sit at a simulcast carol and still run out and see the end of the race if they so desire.
And from our previous plan, this is about a third larger than the seating directly overlooking the track. We were in the low 200s. Right now we're about 306 right now. And again, direct seats, inside climate controlled, overlooking the racetrack.
For a total with the lower level of 1,168 seats that provide direct views of the racetrack.
If you also include the simulcast area, again, the concourse seating, loose seating, it's a little bit over 1,400 total
You can't
physical
see from the
seats.
simulcast here.
Without getting out of your seat, no.
I don't know. Tell me about these tables here behind the.
Well, and again, if you saw on the Penn National video, the concourse level, which we said you saw, again, you saw four tops, you saw the TVs overhang. That is our third floor of our Penn National Grandstand. Very similar to what this layout is. If you do go to page 8, this will give you the visual of what that area looks like. Again, the tiered seating overlooking the racetrack, and right behind it is that concourse. Doesn't give you a good depth of the area here, but it's about 24 feet in depth. Again, envision TVs down that back. People use that for, they'll watch the simulcasting, they'll be able to eat at those tables, and again, if they are there to watch live racing, they get up for the minute and a half of the live race, overlooking right behind the seats, and then they sit down and go back and do their handicapping for the next race. As Bill mentioned, we have about 120 seats, at least in the Penn National Concourse. It's a popular area. The simulcasting is 80% of our handle, and we do utilize that area during non-live racing, which right now, we don't know the number of dates we're doing, but probably more than half the time there won't be live racing happening here. So we want to have facilities that can be used for simulcasting as well for revenue generating and purse generating.
So those highlight some of the modifications that we've made to the plan, all with the focus of trying to keep within the envelope of the existing building so we don't start from scratch. You've seen the sight lines, you've seen the seat counts, you've seen on page 8, as Chris pointed out, what it would feel like. Page 9 is basically just another view of this facility, showing how that would be built out down below and what it would look like again from the trackside. I'm sorry, this was just done, so we haven't had a chance to get it animated as we were back in November for this original plan. If there are no other questions on the main building, we'll just highlight.